Marja.
You're welcome.
That was great.
Yeah, excellent.
So, along with my message, which has kept changing, so have my songs. So here's the one I chose for this morning. And you'll see how perfect synchro divinity, as Tony Bain calls it. Well, I already had the one planned at the end, and Yamaja's words will totally sync up with that. We only live when we grow, grow when we change, change when we learn, learn when exposed, we're exposed when we throw ourselves in the fire, live into the open, reach our desire. We wait for the fates, what the stars they will bring, when we find who we are. Makes the universe sing, makes the universe sing. With one voice, one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice to raise, lifting each other, one voice of praise, one voice of power, one voice, one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice, one voice, one voice. Rooted in peace, we live with intention, knowing our world is our own invention. We raise our vibration through positive attention, go from within to reach our ascension. We wait for the fates, what the stars they will bring, when we find who we are. Makes the universe sing, makes the universe sing. With one voice, with one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice to raise, lifting each other, one voice to praise, one voice to fight, one voice, one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice, one voice, one voice, one light, one heart, sending it out into the dark, one heart, one light, sending it out into the night, one light, one heart, sending it out into the dark, one heart, one light, sending it out into the night. We wait for the fates, what the stars they bring, when we find who we are. Makes the universe sing, makes the universe sing. With one voice, with one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice to raise, lifting each other, one voice to praise, one voice to power, one voice, one vision, one choice, one mission, one voice, one voice, one voice. Thank you. So I'm going to do my message, right? That's not it. That's not it.
Well, thank you for coming today.
I'm going to tell you, it's a tight room in here this morning.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's the way we want to see it.
Good crowd today.
So Easter. Of course, for the traditional Christians, this is like the most powerful time of the year for them, right? They are recognizing the death and rebirth, resurrection, and transformation, the ascension of Jesus of Nazareth, Yeshua. I want to use it today, though, as an idea already spoken about in the Daily Word, and as an idea taking the story and making it our own, right? As we grow and as we transform into who we are to become and who we can become. If you think about the story, it goes through several stages. at his entrance with Palm Sunday last weekend into the town, and then I think of the prayer where he was praying in the gardens of Gethsemane. What happened afterwards with Judas betraying him, and we'll talk about that later. The punishment that he underwent through the trial and afterwards, that torture and punishment, the crucifixion, his death, and then the resurrection and the ascension. The folks that actually saw the apparition of the risen Jesus. I'm a unitic though, so I'm not going to leave the Easter story in its traditional form. Please allow me to reinterpret. It's one of the things I love about unity, is that we can take those things that we hear and see and fashion them in our own way and find new ways to see and seek the truth. So I'm going to pull this story apart. This is something that came to me after weeks of trying to come up with the perfect talk. This is the thing that came tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Hopefully not tomorrow. Yesterday, rather, morning, just as I'm getting frustrated with the computer that's not able to turn on, it cut out, cut down, and shut down, and all the stuff that I'd written already had gone. So it's okay, because it wasn't the message that I was supposed to hear.
That's right.
Because yesterday morning, the message came just before we traveled to Charlottesville. It was too late by that time. So this is what I was writing last night. But it's as with all of these things, as unitics, we can take what we want and leave what we don't want. Yes. Right. So this is not. This is just an interpretation, my interpretation of the story. So let's start with the garden at Gethsemane. If you think about what Jesus was doing, he was going into prayer, looking inside. He knew what was coming, right? And he was trying to get peace with that. So if you think about our daily practices, because we know what the world is going to throw at us, we know that it's not all going to be good all the time, right? But that we can stand in our own truth, and we do that through our daily practices of prayer and meditation and whatever you do. Something we can determine in advance to take us through the process of transformation, which is what this whole story is about. So there he is in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he asks his disciples, his followers, his loyal followers, to stay awake with him. And none of them could do it. Just think about how crazy that is. That none of them had the fortitude to stay awake with him. But if you think about it, isn't it true that we all go through our journey by ourselves? As much as there are people around us, and we congregate and commune with other people, at church here and through the week, and our loved ones, the reality is that we all go through this journey of transformation and transition alone. So, betrayal. I'm going to whip through this story, it seems. Betrayal. So think about Judas. He stepped forward, not to betray Jesus, in my opinion, but to move the story on. The journey of transformation. And if you think about it, Christ knew that it was going to happen. Probably didn't know when, or where, or how. But the story needed to progress. And so I think of it less as a betrayal, but more of those external forces that we have through our life that put pressure on us to move. The rent is due, and you've got to find the money. The taxes are due tomorrow. It's in here, what you said about it, tomorrow being tax day. There comes a time when there's no more time for procrastination, and we've got to move. We've got to go forward. And something needs to be done. So betrayal is something that pushes us out of our comfort zone, and moves us forward towards and through our journey of transformation. Now, next, the trial and what happened afterwards with the flagellation and the beating. Think of the pain, the crown of thorns on the head. Just think of the pure physical pain that Yeshua had to go through. And I think transformation and transition and the eventual ascension is not always easy, smooth going, smooth sailing. I think there are times when there's pain. Sometimes it's the pain that pushes us, moves us forward into where we need to go. So, and with the story of Easter, it's not just the physical pain, but it's the betrayal of the people, being mocked. Think of just the emotional trauma that would put you through. I think everybody here has had some kind of trauma or trials or pain that has led them to this point, and will take you through to the end of the process. Now, I was going to say that at the end, but I think we have to see our transformation through to the end of the process to keep on going, to keep on journeying and becoming. So I actually thought about, being born again here. I actually thought about putting in comma after being. Because we're being and we're becoming and being born again in transformation. So then the carrying of the cross, he had to carry his own cross. And if you think about that in society, we nowadays we talk about it's your own cross, bearing your own cross, your own burden, and it's everybody's burden is unique to them. Everybody's cross to bear is their own. But I want to go past the pain idea. I want to move into our intentions of positivity, our concepts, our ideas. I know you're an artist, a poet. You do music. I do music. I write songs, and each one of us has concepts and ideas, things that they were placed here on this earth to do, and to be born through them. And so, let's think of those things now, and think of those as a form of the cross, a burden, although I think it potentially has some lightness to it. Maybe think of the people that might laugh at you or mock you, or the pains that might come through experiencing that growth and birth of your concepts, your ideas. It might be a business that you want to start. Maybe there are people, we're lunatics. I've said that a couple of times already. I know that Paula, for example, has gone through a time of, let's say, transition with her friends and family, because they think she's going to hell. And not the kind of hell that we might think of here on earth, but a totally different Baptist hell.
Okay.
And so we think of the way that we might be shunned for our ideas and concepts and our beliefs and our very transformation. There's an example of if you catch a crab and you put it in a bucket. If you just leave one crab in there, this is Tony Robbins' story. So I don't know if it's really true, but I think it probably is. If you put one crab in, it'll climb up and escape. Mm-hmm. If you put two crabs in, the second one will pull the first down, and neither of them will escape.
Interesting.
Yeah. So always catch two crabs first, I guess. That's the story. So, yeah, people. I think people, don't understand or us and our growing faith and journey. So let's talk about crucifixion and death. That sounds pretty serious, right? You guys were supposed to laugh when I said that. There you go. even in an analogous story, or using this Easter message in a metaphysical sense, it's pretty serious, right? But here's how I interpret it. When you are transitioning, when you're becoming more, and by that I feel it's more of who your essence is and who your reality is becoming. I feel that you have to go through deaths of the old. That came up before when you were speaking, and I think in the Daily Word too, right? Deaths of the old. Putting the past aside. And in doing so, that's how we can move on. How time-wise? How old?
2010.
Good.
Great.
All right. So I'm gonna go vulnerable and talk about my my first marriage, and there you go. And it was at times it was a pretty painful thing, and I've got to say too that my first wife was not at all spiritual or religious, and quite in some ways, at least verbally abusive. Held me back and held me down like the crab in the pot. And when I found unity, I grew. And I think that in growing, the separation between us also grew. And I had to depart the situation, which took a lot of courage and strength. Also, partly because I had two kids as well, and in our society, although I would say, I hope she doesn't watch this. I would say I was the more prominent parent for the kids most of the time. I would get them ready in the morning, and get their lunches ready, and put them to bed at night and sing songs and do that sort of thing. So I had to go through the pain, that death of the relationship, to more fully realize who I was. Oh, I had never written a song at that point. So that's all new. And so is Paula, my now wife, who is incredibly supportive and encouraging, and also on the journey with me. Separate, we're on our separate journeys, but we're together, and it's a really beautiful thing. So the tomb, think of it as a cocoon, the place before the push there was a time I went through with that where I wasn't ready to change yet, where I had to go through a little bit more growing, and sometimes I think we have to be broken down.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think of a cocoon, a caterpillar forms a cocoon around itself. For a time, it becomes mush, basically. If you open it up, it would not survive. But it has to go through that breakdown to become the beautiful butterfly. That's me. And it's so funny here. I wrote, sometimes we need to rest to find our way forward into the brightness of a brand new day of rebirth. And how many times has brand new day or new day come up, or being born again, all come up today? So, yeah. More synchro divinity. And then, so the death has happened, and now we want to roll back the stone. Another thing that came up today. The intention is to keep discovering, to rolling back the stones, not just once. The releasing of us is not. I don't feel happens all at once, and it's done forever. It's like the lifting of the veils, and we roll back the stones, and we become, and we grow, we stretch out, and there's a new stone for us to roll back. Of course, in the story of Easter, Christ was not in the tomb. They rolled back the stone, and he was not there anymore. So, let's think about what that might mean. I actually kind of talk about it in the, coming up, but I think what it is that when we go through that death of our past selves, of our past experiences, we're no longer, we can never go back to being the caterpillar. We can never go back to being the cocoon even. We can only go forward. So, resurrection. Surrection means, does anybody know? To rise. That's where we get the word insurrection, to kind of rise up, right? We normally think of that, right? Mm-hmm. So, surrection means to rise. And if you think about it, resurrection means to re-rise. Yeah. So it doesn't just happen once. It means that we rise and then we rise again.
Interesting.
So every time, I'm going to tell you something. You haven't experienced this, but when Yamaja and Elroy are in the house with me, and I write something, or they write something, and I choose the music, which is what happens a lot of the time in Unity, because they speak there. Everything syncs together in perfect synchro divinity.
Without being played.
Without being planned. I didn't know what she was going to write today, and she didn't know what I was going to sing or what I was going to speak about. So, there you are. So, the ideas, concepts, ways of being are gone. Your old self is no more, and you rise. Rise again. The ascension. Climbing, rising, becoming a higher version of yourself. Your old self is no more. You have leveled up to a new experience of beingness. I actually think of those computer games where you, particularly the old ones, or Dungeons and Dragons, going way back, where you level up to a new level,
Just right here.
to new challenges. Actually, normally it never finishes, right? You just keep leveling up, which is kind of cool. You cannot return, you cannot become the caterpillar, now you are the butterfly. The interesting thing is that just as in the variations of the Gospels of the Bibles, So, let's talk about the Bible, because the Gospels actually differ in who saw Jesus afterwards, right? And so here's I think the reality of that part of this, the apparition after the ascension, is the apparition, the ghost, or the what was seen of Yeshua, is that not everybody can see it. Not everybody understands or can live with your change. Do you feel that that's true?
I say.
Sorry.
Is that true?
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyways, continue.
No. It's interactive, so, or it can be. So if you had challenges with people,
Sometimes your
accepting-
family.
I had a challenge coming here today.
Really?
Yeah, getting out the door wasn't easy.
So, yeah, and you
Bravo.
did it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
did it,
Sure.
and you have risen, right?
And
To
probably
become-
it's the reason why people, they talked about Mary not recognizing him at first. You
Mhm.
change, and the people that were in your life before don't necessarily recognize you anymore because you're
Wow,
not one of
amen.
them.
No, exactly. You've grown in a way like I did in my marriage. Actually, not in my marriage, separate really to my marriage. I did my own growing, and I was no longer seen. Well, who knows if I was seen in the first place, but or in the second place at least. But yeah, so it's not everybody that's going to recognize who you are and who you're becoming and your growth.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go. I'm going to talk about. I'm going to say, here's an example of that. The traditional thing is when you go back and see your parents. You've been away for 20 years or whatever. You go back. Maybe you have to go and live with them or something. Or just visit them, and they treat you just like you were a kid again.
Yeah.
Right? Is that just the way it is? Right? And so, although I gotta say, I'm gonna be vulnerable again, but I had an amazing experience with my own mother, and it was the last time I saw her, and it was in a garden. There's my sister's garden in St Albans in England, and it was a beautiful sunny day, like it is today. Actually, a little warmer though. And that's not always the case in England, let me tell you. But it was a beautiful sunny day, and we were sitting, and for some reason, everybody else had left the garden. And she said to me, well, actually, I'm going to say it didn't matter what she said to me, because it wasn't what she was saying to me from her heart through to me. What she said to me was, I see who you are and where you are, and I fully accept who you've become.
Wow.
And
That's what you want your parents to say.
she didn't say that. She didn't words were not those. But that's what I could understand her message and her feeling, and she totally accepted me. Absolutely, that was a gift. And in that moment, I knew that she was content, and she felt that contentment. And so I flew back to America and didn't see her again. So we come to the last thing I'm going to do, which is I'm going to sing a song to you. But let's talk about that for a second, because this is a song you all know, but it's a song about transformation and that rising again. And in each moment, I feel that we have the opportunity to be born again, to find the present moment, and to become that greater version of who we are. So in this, you'll hear, if you listen to the words closely, birds flying high, soaring in the sky, right? Lifted, transformed, sun in the sky, the brightness of the light that we all hold within us. The breeze drifting on by, as it is in the song. If you think about, I had an insight last week about becoming detached, not being the tree, but being the breeze, touching the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't always have to live right in our muck and our mire and our misery and the world out there with all its pains if we choose to see them. We can live as the wind upon the leaves of the tree. So you'll hear also about some transformational animals or creatures. The dragonfly. There's always one, right, that we see flitting around. But again, the butterfly going through, it's already been through its transformation. And we become stars when you shine. We look for the greatness and the becoming of who we are. So I'm going to sing this now, and it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. In every moment, though, every moment as we stretch and we reach forward and we become who we were placed to be on this planet at this perfect time. So let's do it. Hope you guys are feeling good this morning. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know it? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done, that's what I mean. And this old world is a new world, and a bold world for me. For me. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's It's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Whoa, 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 I'm feeling good. You guys feeling good this morning?
Amen. Amen.
Feeling so good, so good, so good. Feeling so good. Woo! So the thing is, I think, to keep on going through the process. Even in the struggles and the pain, moving forward, and we will reach our ascension as we grow and become greater versions of ourselves. So now you do a meditation, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's relax. Take a moment to breathe this perfect air that was given to us. In this perfect place, at this perfect time. In this most beautiful, beautiful way. The way of balance, of in and out. Of pain and rebirth. Of darkness and light. On this journey of becoming and being born again. Our journey is made by ourselves. Alone together. Now let's drop deeper as we find perfect peace. And perhaps we look for the deaths that need to happen, the things we need to put aside. And we sweep them aside now, in this moment, and roll back the stone to discover our new selves, transformed, ascending, becoming our fuller selves, with completeness and integrity, wholeness, burgeoning forward, becoming, through a journey that is made and continuous. Let's see a spark now in each one of us, in yourself. Realize that spark is the purest essence of who you are. See that spark growing into a flame. Growing again. Awakening the true spirit that is within you. Growing to encompass your whole self. Moving out from you. Growing further. Light emanating from you now into your world on this brand new day. You are as the sun, shining on all those around you, from you, as you stretch forward into this world. Becoming the spark and the light that touches others. As you uplift yourself, in doing so, others will be uplifted. Let's rest there for a moment as you be the light. Becoming aware, let's take another breath of perfect balance that holds this body and this existence in perfect balance. Let's awaken, rise again.